Hello.
Hi, Sherry. Are you there?
Yeah, can you see my video?
I don't see you. I hear you. So I thought,
Oh,
well,
here. Let's see what's going on here. Because it said stop video, so that made me think it was working, but let's see what's happening.
there you
Ah,
are.
okay, let me turn on some lights in my office.
Sounds good.
Okay, there we go. It's a little bit better, huh?
Hi. Well, really nice to meet you. I'm Jane. We'll keep
Hi,
this
Jane.
we'll keep this fairly interesting, I hope, for you. Um,
Okay.
and there's 8 questions. Some have 2 parts.
Okay.
My study is qualitative, so the more details, the merrier. But I
Sure.
really do appreciate you helping me with this.
Sure.
Okay, are you ready to rumble? I'm recording. I think we are
Yes.
ready. Okay.
Okay.
Number one, what do you think leadership is and how do you do it?
Okay. So I think leadership is recognizing the strengths of all of the folks that you work with, whether it be the people who work directly for you or the people that you end up working with based on work assignments and stakeholders across the institution. And so being able to find effective ways to communicate with them and to draw out their strengths and to utilize those strengths to achieve the goal is what I think is good leadership. What was the second part of the
And
question?
how do you do it?
Well, so I for the people who work for me, I take the time to find out what they feel their strengths are and areas they think they'd like to improve in, what their interests and goals are. I try to make sure that the work that they're given helps them to work on those areas while stretching them a little bit to maybe areas that they might not be so comfortable in, but may benefit them in the long run. So it's a matter of just being able to learn who you're working with and to communicate effectively with them and then to put them into the situations where they can be successful while also learning from difficulties and to take advantage of those strength areas as they work in their daily work environments. Yeah.
Thank you. Number two, what kind of support have you had to ensure your professional success?
Wow. So support. I think I've been lucky in my professional career to have a good network of people. So, I've from school. I remember there are people who I was in graduate school with who are now in different positions in different institutions or corporations. I've had them to ask questions of or lean on if I've gotten into situations at work that I didn't even know how to handle. If I thought I was in a situation where I might want to pursue a new opportunity, getting their feedback, set another point of view on the pros and cons of making those decisions. So I think it's just my general network of friends and colleagues who I've worked with in the past who have kind of helped me to forge my way in making some career decisions and deciding where I was going to go. I will say I have had some bosses also who have been good mentors in helping me to see my options and things that I need to do, like education wise, to prepare myself for the next step. So, yeah, so I think it's been a mix of both. I call them informal mentors and leadership that I've worked for that have helped me.
Good, thank you. Number three, what qualities did your support network system demonstrate?
Well, because a lot of them are females, they reality. You know what I mean? So we're kind of sometimes it's harder for us to be able to really look at the negative aspects of things, especially if you want things to go in a certain direction. So I think the qualities that they've had is that they've been very realistic and very blunt with me in some certain situations about what the ramifications of maybe going in a certain direction might be, or some things that I might want to consider that may be more important to me once I make a choice that I might be downplaying. So I think bringing me the dose of reality sometimes that I might not want to face in making some decisions. And being very supportive, you know, just being willing to talk and talk things through has been that's part of what's been really good about the people who've been in my network.
Number 4,
Yeah.
what is, and this one has 2 questions, so it's,
Okay.
2 roads. What
Okay.
is one piece of advice that you got early on in your career?
To get as much education as I possibly could before I had a family and kids. I will say, and that one proved to be one that I still give to people. In fact, I have a young employee that I just hired, and she's just finishing up her master's degree. And I said, "Are you planning to go for your doctorate? What are you planning to do after this?" Because she's got a boyfriend. She said, get all that you can before you have all those other things in life which might get in the way. So I think that piece of advice was probably the one that really helped me to be able to do some of the things that I've done that have helped, build my journey that I've had. Yeah.
Okay. And the second part, what is one piece of advice that you have received that has served you well?
Well, that has served me well. But the other thing that has served me well is not being limited by a position that you're in. And I say that because when I first came out of my master's degree, it's a computer science. So I was a programmer. I sat behind a desk, I coded, I was with all the other introverts, and that is so not my personality. So I remember one of the managers at the company said, "You know what? Just because this is the job you have now doesn't mean the job that you'll always have. And so don't feel like because you've got computer science skills and programming skills that's all. Now that's the path that you have to stay in." And he was so right, because then I ended up going back to school for my doctorate and kind of going in a direction that uses my computer science skills, but in a much different way than sitting and coding every day. So very good advice for me, and proved to be very beneficial.
Number 5,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
can you talk about your career path and what you have learned?
Yeah, right. So I've learned a lot because I've started out of my master's degree as a defense contractor. So it's a very male dominated world with a lot of military folks. And I did that for 17 years while I was working on my academic credentials. And so that path from going from being in that world taught me so much about self-confidence and not being intimidated by the surroundings of circumstance when you're the only woman and sometimes the only minority in a group of 40, 50, 60 something white men in uniforms. It can be very intimidating. So realizing that I could hold my own in that kind of audience really helped me to get the confidence that I found I needed later on to be able to take control over things and become in charge in management positions and leadership positions, and being able to go into a room with confidence, knowing that I could hold my own in different audiences. So starting out that way and then moving to academia and then becoming involved in doing more presentations and leading work groups and being involved in international organizations, it just gave me that foundation of knowing how to deal with a lot of different personalities and a lot of personalities. We deal with a lot of smart people. That, guess what? You're probably one of the smart people in the room too. You don't have to be intimidated by people because they don't look like you or you haven't had the same experiences that they've had. So yeah, I think that is the thing that I think has really benefited me the most from starting out in that kind of not diverse work environment to where I am now.
Number 6, what in your previous positions brought you to where you are today?
Oh my gosh. My background is kind of funny because, like I said, I started out as a programmer, and then I did my doctorate in education multimedia systems, and I moved to being a computer science professor, and then from the professor to the administrative side. And I've done instructional design, and then been a director of distance education, and now director of instructional technology. So I have literally had each perspective that you could have in an academic institution. And so that background has allowed me to be able to be empathetic to folks when I'm working on different policies or processes, and just having the knowledge of the entire ecosystem of academia has really served me well to get to where I am and to work outside of the institution with others.
And the second part to this one, so you answered what in your previous positions brought you to where you are today. How has that informed your leadership style?
Yeah, and I think that goes right with it because it allows me, because I'm so familiar with different perspectives of the people that I deal with from the numerous organizations on campus and off campus. I've learned how important it is to listen and for people to know that you've heard them, and for you to then explain that you've heard them and then give them other perspectives. So I think all of those interactions and engagements from different positions around campuses and institutions has helped me to then use those skills that I've learned in communication and information sharing, and breaking down boundaries when you feel people are resistant for whatever personal reasons they may have, and helping them to understand that you get where they're coming from, but here may be some other strategies you might just want to consider. And oh, by the way, this is how this group has done this particular thing that solves the problem. Maybe we should, cross-pollinate or see if you might be interested in learning more about that. So all of those just skills that I've learned and how you can open people up to looking at new and diverse options of problem solving and communication skills. I think the one thing that I've gained that has served me so well in leadership is being able to communicate with so many different people. And then people feeling like they can come to me and to talk about issues that maybe they don't feel like they can talk about with someone else. So I think all of those skills have really served me well to be the leader that I am today.
Number 7. This is two-pronged too, of course. Okay. What has been successful in your career path?
What has been successful? I think if you ask me what has been successful, not getting stagnant, always learning and staying on top of, the latest, the innovation, knowing what's happening in the industry. I always tell people who teach, I also teach online. I always tell students, you have made a commitment if you're in these fields to be a lifelong learner. And for me, it's true. Like sometimes I take on teaching a new class because I know I'm going to need to really know where things are going, enterprises are going in a certain direction. So you just having that commitment to lifelong learning has been a huge help. Yeah. What was the second part?
The second one is, what would you have done differently? The bumps in the road.
What would I have done differently? Well, I don't know where I would have ended up, but I did have a couple career choices and options. One of which was to work at Intel out of my master's degree. I'd be on a beach somewhere living off of my shares of that's back in 94. So I'd be living off shares of stock by now. But I don't know that was a bump in the road. It was just a path that I chose, and it led me in a different direction. Whether or not I would have been successful in that path, I don't know. And I don't want to say that just because I know I have a lot more money, that would have been an overall, personal success. I've been very blessed. I haven't had any huge bumps in the road, knock on wood. I've always been gainfully employed. I've had lots of options. Even when I've been in places where I've been comfortable, people have come to me with opportunities. So, I wish I could give you one, but I haven't had a huge bump. I've just had lots of twists and turns, but not necessarily a bump.
All right. Good metaphors. And number 8, how as a leader do you persist?
Well, so that's interesting because I'm part of what we call an Academic Transformation Advisory Council at the System of Maryland. And today we were just talking about how those of us who are on the innovation side can sometimes run out of energy when it comes to trying to convince other people of the benefits of innovating. And I think I persist. And what helps me to persist is that I can see where there are successes that other people are having as they're getting over some of these humps that or bumps that we've run up against and trying to push, our agenda to get more innovative teaching and learning strategies to be used. So what invigorates me or reinvigorates me is when I have the opportunity to go to conferences, participate in other national organizations like EDUCAUSE and IMS Global, where I can see, people who have these brilliant ideas and have great ideas that will help the teaching and learning spaces. And that helps to energize me to then go back and kind of recycle those people who, those one or two faculty are always saying no, 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 to put those aside and say, look, there's some people over there who's saying maybe, maybe, maybe. Let's worry about the maybe, maybe, maybes and just keep telling me no, no, no. It's okay. Maybe one day you'll come over and play with us. We got lots of fun stuff over here. But until then, I'm going to go talk to these guys. They got, they're showing the energy in the right direction. So I think, I think that's what helps me persist and then luckily I have leadership that gives me the opportunity to do those things. I was just doing travel requests, right? I'm presenting at a conference next week. I just came back from EDUCAUSE last week, and I have 3 conferences that I'm going to in January and February. So going away and coming back, you just come back with a new energy, and it does help you to persist in what you're doing.
Good. I will maybe ask, I have after my first 12 for interviews, because that concludes our 8 questions. Well, actually there were 12 questions, but I 2-pronged them. There might be a revisit after I look at the transcripts of the first 12, and then I'll create another batch of questions. I know I asked you to reserve an hour, but the first ones usually go 15 to 20.
No problem.
But I thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure.
You were my second one, so I have 10 to go.
The first 2 have not made you want to cry at the end. You think, maybe this is going to be okay.
No, I'll save my tears for something else. But thank you much, Sherry, and maybe talk to you later. Okay?
Sounds good.
Yep.
Hey, take care. Have a good rest of your week.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, let me call.